Divine Sunshine, and this is the Playground Experience. I have here with me April Williams and my other lovely co-host, Kathy D. And tonight we got two lovelies here. I call them Salt and Pepper. Salt and Pepper's here. And we end up, don't ask me to, I ain't going to say the whole rap because I'll mess it up. You know, I've been rewrote the lines over again. But our own St. Germaine's, our own Star Seeds here, Soul Sisters here. They have their own Facebook page as well. And I call them Salt and Pepper because one of them has the light and the other one has the darkness. And this is a subject that we're going to dip into because this week I did a reading and it came to me afterwards in the spirit that said, I got to get them on because I said about us accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'm gonna give you a trigger warning before we come into it. We want to get deep and dive into some other realms that maybe some of you all may or may not be familiarized with. And you can, like they said, take off of the plate that you want, and what things you don't, you can leave it there. But again, I want you to open your eyes to the whole totality of the twin flame journey. And that's why we came up with the playground experience. So we can bring other people with their views to show you, hey, maybe you might not have thought about this with the twin flame experience. Here's another way of looking at it. But we're going to start off with our traditional thing, which is to talk about the energies. What have we been experiencing here? And like I just told when we got before we came on air was about the experience of I'm having a lot of people calling me, especially females, no males, but a lot of females from all different types of walk, like high school, my bestie, about their issues, problems, in dire straits. I need your help. Just out of the blue. So I was wondering, is that something else other people have been experiencing? All these people, this out of blue, this divide, this feminines, period, in need, or just that talking, or just want to have that connection. So I found that very interesting because I know I watched Kathy and Jennifer early on that thing, and she was talking about opening up your heart, and Jennifer was talking about opening and expressing and feeling things. And I just made the commitment, not to Christ, but to commitment to say, I want to open myself up to feel, because I usually kind of check out. I can feel emotionally what's going on, but I don't try to attach. And now that I've done that, it's been like the floodgates have opened and all these people are coming in with their problems. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed with this. But maybe that's just me, but I don't know if that's the energies too with the retrograde. So I'll pass it on to Kathy D down this way and say, is there anything that you have been experiencing with the energies here lately?
Lately it's been a lot of the I got feedback somehow. A lot of fear energy has come up, like the stuff off the bottom of the coffee pot, like that really crazy fear stuff that comes from past lives. And then some ego has been coming up, and then everybody and their brother calling, sending me messages, sending me pictures of chili they're making. I mean, they're just, and like I'm sitting in a parent conference today and my phone's just going off and I'm like trying to reach for it to shut it off, and it's been the same thing, just people talking, even like in the grocery store, just out of the blue.
Yeah.
With the masks, we don't get that much of people just stopping and talking to you. And I've got them now, have you tried these green beans? These are really good green. That's great. Thank you. And so it's like just random people telling me,
Yeah. Like, where is this coming from? April, what's happening with you with the energies?
Um, a little from column A, a little from column B, and a little from column, let's see what's going on. There's a lot of like just deep uprising. I found myself weeping through yoga today. So it was a nice heart opening, a lot of deep, the coffee pot, deep cleaning, right? And it's more like there's a lot of self-forgiveness I found. Um, when you start to take full responsibility for the existence, right? You start to empower yourself to manifest truly. And there's the things that you've been holding on to as your so-called mistakes or so-called flaws that you have currently, and accepting yourself for who you are and continuing to move forward. And, it's interesting because it's almost as if it's external, but it's an internal voice. So like that whole fake, you can't do this, or there's so many of people doing this already, you can't do that. It's like, what? No, I don't actually believe that. So where did that come from? Oh, that came from that person, but I have to forgive myself for holding on to it for this long and using it as part of my identity, and like that whole like just reclamation of self, and there's a sense of momentum and empowerment to it. So it's been some nice deep cleaning. And what's nice is I'm not as hard of a critic of myself as I was before. Just
Mhm.
understanding that this is going to be me in retrospect, and I'm going to be so proud of everything that I've done. It's just been this weird, like crazy time jumpy thing. You look down, you look up. It's like, where have I been for the last 2 hours? Or did did I accomplish everything on my list? No, but I got 3 things done, so I'm doing good. A lot of goddess energy, a lot of feminine, just
Yeah.
feminine holding
Mhm.
the energy of boundary, holding the energy of um, what is it, moving forward and birthing herself, right? Because nobody tells the goddess anything unless she's willing to deal with that, right? or enjoy that. And so it's all about her pleasure and how she finds it. And it's been really nice. It's been nice, but at the same time, it's kind of like, is somebody testing me? Is this is there a camera back there? Because this is some bullshit, and somebody needs to tell somebody that this was some nonsense. But thanks for the test spirit. I'm gonna keep glowing. I'm gonna keep shining. Let's go.
True, true, true. That is been it. I mean, it was like one time it was just all at once, and I was like, "Hold it, hold it! I just need a break. I feel like I'm just in the midst of all this crazy stuff. It's not coming together. People calling me about their drama. I need your help, distress." And I was like, "Okay, keep anchored." Thank God I had did. Sometimes your readings save your life. I had just did a reading and said, "You're going to be in the midst of it for the divine feminine, in the midst of emotional turmoil, like a storm, and it's whizzing all around you. You got to anchor down." And I was like, "That's right. Go back to the reading. What did you say?" I said, "That's right. This is going to happen. I got to anchor down." And so thank God I anchored all my energy down so that when all that stuff was going on, I was like, "Calm, Wusa, I got this. I was made for this. I was made for this golden
Yes.
life plan."
Yes. Baby.
I was made for this, and I anchored down. So what's happening with our guests? What do you say? What's going on with the energies with you two,
Go ahead.
Kathy and Jennifer?
You know, very
You don't want to even get started. You don't want to even get started.
well, I've been noticing yeah, I've been connecting with a lot of older friends, but I've also been noticing that there's a lot of divine masculines that have been coming my way, and they're kind of more in their divine feminine. So I actually have a few masculine friends that are just like, they're like, I got my aha moment. Like I get it. Like the universe is so big. And I'm like,
Yay.
oh,
This is good
yeah.
news,
I'm like, oh
people.
my God. And they're like, I just want to learn so much more. Can you just give me some insight? I really want you to talk to me. And I'm like, I got all these other people I got to talk to too. I'm like, but yeah, sure. I'll be there for you. Absolutely.
You
And they're
heard it
like,
here first. The DM's finally pulling his head out of his ass. Thank you.
some of them. They're like, they're sitting there, and a lot of them used to be in addictions too. So they're like, I finally got my head out of my rear end. Now, how do I make friends with guys? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, isn't it easy for a man to make friends with men? And this one friend's like, no, it's not that easy. There's no way it's that easy. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I realized that back in the day, I was actually triggered by men. Like they actually really harmed me. And so now it's hard for me to put myself in that situation where I can trust a man. And I'm like, oh, honey, you are divine feminine. So divine feminine. I'm like, but
I actually have a healing that I did for free that I put on my channel for helping. It's a very short one. It's 2 minutes. It's really weird. It's super weird. I'm learning how to edit, but it's for healing that generational within the masculine, right? So if you want to do some ancestor work, I suggest you guys find that video. Maybe I'll link it here later. Maybe I'll make a note. But thank you for this. I'm excited. Keep going. I'm like, they got the tea. They got the tea. Who's ready? Who got their cup?
Okay. So I guess mine's a little bit different. Actually, mine's a lot different.
Okay.
Because I'm a healer, right? I look at death a lot different than an average person looks at death, right? And because of me being a healer, I don't like to feel, because I don't like to take on other people's energies. So I kind of block that out. And I've noticed that because I've had two different experiences with my children when their grandparents have ended up passing away, I have to learn to have compassion. We ended up actually doing a reading for this lady, and she was crying. And I always block out feelings, right? I try to separate the feeling aspect from my reading, right? So I can tap into energy. I'm a person that likes to pull the feelings out of them. And not have to experience that, right? So I've blocked this off for quite a long time in my journey. Well, lo and behold, with this reading, as this lady's crying, I am all of a sudden tearing up. And I was like, my whole heart just opened, and I was like, oh my God. And I usually, some people I will charge for, and then there's some people that I feel very drawn to do their reading and doing their stuff that we end up doing for them. So I was like, oh my God, right? And I'm looking at Kathy and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not charging this lady. There's no way I'm charging. I've never felt so sad in a reading in my whole life. And then right after that, my daughter was crying, and Kathy ended up telling me, gotta have compassion. This is the second time, whatever. So I got up, and with my kids, same thing. I pull energy out, right? And trying to pull. Well, Kathy blocks me. So until I ended up almost, and then she finally unblocked me so I could pull this energy out so my daughter would stop hurting, right? And then all of a sudden I'm like about to like fall over. I'm grabbing the table. I'm like, what is going on with me? Because I kept enhancing my energy and stuff like that, right? So I've definitely learned what compassion is and how I need compassion in readings. And I need to realize that, well, they've even were like, oh, well, you'd be a good medium. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do mediumship, but I don't like it. I don't have the way to explain to somebody about it, right? But Kathy does that very, very well. That's why we're kind of hand in hand in that. So what I don't like to do, she loves to do. It works out pretty good, actually.
Yeah. So now that kind of morphs into what you all specialize in, and why I call you all salt and pepper with that. So can you explain a little bit about what your specialization and what you all do, some of your gifts?
Okay, so I'm a black witch. I dabble in okay, I can't say that. I don't dabble. I love the energy of the dark side, about going into the blackness and realizing that if you don't have that blackness and that darkness and that call to like the different 7 deadly sins, they call it, that if you don't have that, how are you ever going to find that light, not only inside of you but outside of you? And if you're willing to sit there and say that that doesn't exist and there's nothing about that type of world, then you're not really living in light. You are living in illusion. You're living in denial. It's more of, I'm in a fake side of happiness and light, when really you have to embrace that side that there is there. Like, there are negative entities out there. There are demons. There are, and black witches don't call it demons. We call it daemons. There's the, like, the blackness inside of everyone. And if you really want the divine masculine and feminine energies to really balance, it's a wheel that you're really looking at. You see the black and you see the white side and then the little dots. Well, the whole thing's a circle. And if you can't sit directly in the middle, you're never going to find singularity and you'll always be in duality.
Mm-hmm. And because I'm white, I'm strictly white. There's no dark with me. It took me a long time to realize this. It actually took me a very, very long time to even believe that this actually existed. Until Kathy's like, no, you're going to have to help me one day. And I didn't really understand what she was actually talking about and how to comprehend about this dark side, right? So she ended up taking me to do, because she does rituals and stuff like that, right? And she's like, you need to come with me and you need to experience this. And I'm like thinking, all right, she's nuts, right? Same as everybody thinks, even when they're in their spirit, the spiritual thing, you're going nuts, right? Until you start experiencing things, then you start really actually realizing it's not a nut stage. So I ended up going with her and I ended up doing this thing. And I felt like she's like, do not leave this circle. And I kind of looked at her and I'm like, all right, you're crazy, but okay. And then I ended up going there and felt like I was in like heat, and I was enclosed in this spot, right? And I didn't know what was going on or anything like that. And then I ended up the very next time. So I was like, well, that's kind of different energy. I'm not really quite sure if what I was experiencing, but I experienced something that I never experienced before, but I didn't really know what it was. And then all of a sudden I did another one with her and ended up having them saying, Kathy's going to kill you. Kathy's going to kill you. And I was like, what is going on? Right. And all of a sudden I realized that, okay, maybe what she does is actually real. So I ended up getting an epiphany one day. And my guides ended up telling me that, have you ever thought that there's a reason why twin flames are not coming together? There's multiple reasons. You need healing. You still need all the benefits of actually having your healing aspects of your twin flame journey. That is never going to change. But in some aspects, there is other reasons, because we are in the light. As every light worker knows, twin flame knows, light is fighting against dark right now. And when you actually start looking at the scenario, and we decided to do an experiment, we ended up finding out and testing multiple different twin flames on actually things that they were actually experiencing in their twin flame journey. Dreams, having nightmares, having morphed out dreams, having mood swings, going in major depression, coming through certain aspects of, you've done all your healing, you should be in union, but not understanding that on the other side of the aspect, your divine masculine, when your divine masculine is not going to be healed when they're back, you have to teach them. Regardless, it's divine feminine time, they have to teach their divine masculine. And we came to the conclusion that out of, I'm going to say about 95% that we've found out so far, and these are just random people we've actually picked, they actually have dark entities that are attached to their twin flame journey. If you are a higher soul, it is a soul contract that they have made. So you can actually have to overpower the dark. And if you are here to teach somebody about twin flame journey, you are going to have signed this contract. It's because you're a higher ranking soul, your journey is going to be a lot harder, especially with twin flame journeys, than somebody that you're going to be teaching. Your soul mission is going to be so very, very different. And we had this epiphany, and I was like, really? Is it really like, are we losing our mind? Why does this keep popping in our heads? So I was like, okay, let's experiment. Let's just put a post on Facebook, and we'll post on how many twin flames are done work. They've done work for years. And they're just, something is blocking them. And lo and behold, this is where this reading came from. That I ended up actually feeling and crying, and almost I felt like I tapped into this girl's energy, and it was so many twin flames. We've, out of all that we've actually done, every single one of them has actually had a dark energy actually attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are perfect on timing. I guess I paused dramatically because I was breathing because I was so excited. I can't not get it out of me. But I had this
Because you believe in hoodoo and voodoo, right?
Oh, I know it exists, whether or not I believe, right?
Yeah. But Kathy being dark, right? Technically, Kathy has a big, she's a very big in the dark side from a past life, right? She knows how to get rid of dark, right? So it's karma that you build up in past lives, all this stuff like that you have to get rid of. And if you've signed this contract, and you're having all these experiences and wondering why you're not coming into union or anything like that, this is a very big reason, because Kathy gets rid of them, and then I end up clearing people's energy, because once the dark has attached to you, it's hard for you to move forward. I'll let Kathy more talk about the dark side, because I'm more the clearer, right? Like, I like to clear this shit. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to have to do it at one point, and I get that, right? Because there is so many twin flames. Some are going to believe it. Some are not going to believe it. It really isn't going to affect our spiritual journey if somebody believes it or not.
Right. And that's what I was about to say, just to interject. I was like, trigger warning, if I could have my famous sign up there, trigger warning with divine sunshine, because I can feel somebody collectively like hitting the spiritual proverbial pearls. They're clutching them like, what is, oh, wait a second. So that they understand that this is another thing. Some of us just read through all of the other stuff and just hear what it's saying. Some of us have been out there trying. We know within ourselves when we search our hearts, we've been doing the work. We can look at our divine counterpart in some kind of way. They look like they're doing their work, but something about it is just not coming together. So this is another thing of an aspect for you to look at to say, okay, if I'm doing the work and he's doing the work, what's stopping us? Because I know we've done everything. And with these two young ladies, I've met them, they help to bring up another aspect to say, hey, when we talk about third-party energies, guess what? Sometimes it ain't a person, place, a thing. It's a spiritual entity that could be your third party that's blocking it too. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it back over to them because I felt somebody like that. So I want to just like calm down, just open up your aspect to your eyes to other aspects that's out there. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Kathy. Now she can go on because somebody was like, there.
Yeah, I felt that too. Lots of people are all like, I can't believe you're actually talking about this online. It's like,
right.
It needs to be said. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, there's not a lot of people who will openly talk about that side because people have this misconstrued conception that when it comes to Black witchcraft, that we're like Satan worshipers and that we're like all about Satan and all this stuff. But if you think about it, I've went through some courses. I've followed a few people. One person was a Zagan sorcerer, and he was like, we're all about the win-win in sorcery. And it's going after that win-win, and we have to find self-love. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, so light workers don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, are you sure that you're not talking like a light worker right now. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, that's what we're all about. We want to find self-love and find unity inside of ourselves. I'm like, so you're basically just talking about the white side. He's like, no, I'm black. Okay, I am too. But like, it's both aspects. And I find that when it comes to different, like the readings that we have done, each entity is different. Some are outside, some are inside, some are like more like higher in the spectrum, because there's lower demons, there's mid demons, there's higher demons, there's just like different types of negative entities, and a lot of them like draw on addiction. So they'll keep you down if your addiction is there. And it doesn't matter if it's like alcohol or drugs. It could be codependency on somebody's energy or how somebody's treating you. They're helping your ego turn around and go, yeah, no, you don't need anything else other than this, because you're not worthy enough to have anything else and you don't deserve anything else. So they're helping your ego stay really, really strong, so that you're not actually listening to your inner self and your inner being, because your soul is not about good or bad or duality of things. They're about, I just want you to be, I am. I am. They're not looking for you to be, I'm about the goodness or I'm about the bad. It's I am. They don't see time. They don't see negative and positive energies when you actually get into your soul. So it's just, lots of people just need to realize that there are other things out there that could be stopping you from getting into that soulmate or twin flame relationship that's outside of your control. And if you don't have anyone that can actually help to like transmute the energies and disperse them and vanquish them or banish them, then how are you ever going to come in union? Like, I've seen a few twin flames that are like, I'm with my twin flame and I've helped 100 people come into union with their twin flame. Okay, how many billion people are on this planet? How many of them actually are a twin flame? How can we teach the twin flame if you're only doing your perspective and saying my way is right? I'm not saying my way is right. I'm saying my way is one way. And if you don't have each different type of perspective, like the bird's eye view and actually seeing everything around, how can you actually bring all twin flames together so that the good fight is actually fought properly?
Right.
And don't get us wrong, we've figured out that it is our twin flames have the same problem. We're going through this as a problem. Ours has to be done a little bit different than other people's, because it's ours, and that's our soul mission, right? To help twin flames get out of this aspect. And I'm not saying all twin flames have that aspect, because there's so many that don't have that aspect. But there is so many that also have that, because if you're high up there and you are meant to teach people, there's a very good possibility that
They're blocking.
you've signed that as a contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a moth to a flame. I mean, it's a higher up you go and the more light you contain, and it's a good likely, like those two are going to be attracted together in some ways. I like your Jennifer, your theory that you had talked about, how sometimes people think that it's the light that fights the darkness, but sometimes it's the darkness that's got to fight the darkness. Can you go through that theory a little bit more?
Mine.
I'm sorry. Let me give it to his due. I'm sorry. There's so many captions on the screen. I'm getting confused too. But yes.
Yeah. So my theory is, so I know how a lot of people say that that you can only fight off like demons or negative entities and things like that with like the church, where there's like actually a priest that comes in. But really, anyone can, if you have the tools and know how to vanquish the negative entities out of your world. And you can draw in on the darkness to help as well. Because if you think about it, angels and demons are both here to teach. They're both here to give us our insight into which way, they're here for us to get help from on either side. We just got to realize which side we want to be on more often and choose, because we have to have that choice. If we don't have that choice, then we would just follow God or the universe anyway, and we would never understand truly the light that's within us and outside of us, because we would never see darkness. That is why there is freedom of choice and the free will, because you can draw on the negative to go, hey, you know what? This negative entity is coming at me, and I know it's lower than me, and my energies are so much stronger, but I don't want to go to the light side because the dark calls into the dark. So I'm going to get the darkness to come in, and I'm going to grab a hold of a higher demon and go, I'm going to ask you to take your little bastard out of here, and it's gonna go, and you're gonna take it with you. And it normally works for me all the time. So it's just like, here you go, you take your little prick home, and I'll just stay here.
Yeah, I thought that was go on, Jennifer.
But then there's other aspects, right? That because there's different sides of dark entities, right? There's different things that you have to do, right? There's some, absolutely. You're higher, you can tell them to skedaddle, right? But then there's other aspects, if they are higher, then there's other ways that you have to get rid of them. They don't just disappear because you think that you're going to just say, okay, you got to go. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. It's like yin and yang, right? Black and white. Everybody knows with twin flame journeys, there's a yin and there's a yang. So there's a reason why there's a black side and there's a white side. There is no gray in the middle. It's one or the other, right? And they both work together to become one, right? So without the one, you can't have the other.
Yeah. Samuel of, I hope I'm saying it right, of the UK, I like this statement, and it needs to be on a t-shirt. The brighter the light casts a longer shadow, right? Which I think is pretty much, again, what you're speaking of. That's brilliant. I haven't heard that before. So that is brilliant on that part. And what else did he say? He's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, he's a really cool little guest we've got.
Yes, he is. He is. Well, I need to. I was about to say, contact me at Divine Unisouls at 11@gmail so I can talk and see. In the original Law of Angels, really demons, there were angels in their balanced aspects. What became demons was the same principle in an imbalance.
Now, I found, like, in the beginning of this journey, right, the more light work I did, the more the counter came. So it's kind of like a pressurized effect. So if you want to be effective as any type of healer or connector, you really want to get comfortable with this. And there's a song that I think her name is Kelly. Anyway, it's called Miss Me. For some reason, I was cursing a lot earlier. I wonder whose DM that was. Just saying. Anybody? Okay, anyway. I'm not a sailor, but for some reason.
As long as it's not like a trigger, we're fine.
Swear a lot too.
But this is part of it. So one of the things I like to think of is ridding the karmic contract. Right. So I say when I'm doing energy work with someone that their karma stays with them and my karma stays with me. Now my karma may be harsher than yours, right? So I'm doing you a favor, because if you got the karmic repercussions of my actions, that would be really, really rough, right? And so as you've gone through your practices, how have you maintained and grown as healers? And you guys work together, which is just beautiful, because you've got a synergy effect. Now, not everybody is a dynamic twin buddy. What do you call yourself? You and Bonita too, Kathy and Bonita.
We're soul sisters.
Yeah. Okay, soul sisters.
Yeah, we got the same tattoo.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, Bonita, we gotta get one.
Please get them on your behind for Freaky Friday fun.
Yeah, see, I love Freaky Friday, and I just completely went today. I was like, damn it.
It's
Everybody comes to see the Freaky Friday because I'm like, yeah, Freaky Friday, let's talk about sex. And everyone's like,
We do that.
and I'm like,
I mostly try to make the people who are uncomfortable uncomfortable.
oh, I'll make anyone uncomfortable. I love it. I love making uncomfortable conversations, just because if you're not willing to have that uncomfortable conversation with someone, then how are they ever going to learn to trust you?
True.
How can they actually give themselves 100% honesty and truth to you when they're asking for your guidance? If you're just willing to sugarcoat everything, then you're really just kind of giving into their ego. I'm not ever going to do that. And when it comes to your question, I'm just teaching Jen about the black. We started, our friendship has been really long. We've known each other since we were 9 years old. And we've had this back and forth friendship for a pretty long time, because we'll like stop talking to each other, not out of fighting, but we like get disconnected, and then all of a sudden we'll find each other in the weirdest ways. And it was weird, because this time, like, we both finally had Facebook at the exact same time. And I ended up getting a friend request from someone, and then right afterwards I was like, I have a friend suggestion, and it's Jen. I'm like, this chick's getting a call. I'm like, dude. And I messaged her, and it was like 3 years ago. But when it comes to how I transmute the energies and release the negative of it, is I don't think of it as negative. Like, I don't call it evil to me, or negative, or dark, or black, even though that's how I describe it. I just call it, those are my tools. That's my modality. I just get to call into whatever modality I would like. And I'm just teaching her that part, because she's always been about white. And the one time she did decide to dabble in the black side and didn't tell me, I'm like sitting at my house, she's sitting at her house, had this hairy hissy fit karma thing go on, send some pretty dark crap, and I'm like, Jen's doing something. What are you doing? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what did you do? She's like, I felt that, eh? I was like, what did you decide to tap yourself into? She's like, well, I'm like, awesome. Did you know that when you grabbed a hold of something, you weren't grabbing a hold of nothing? She almost put me down the stairs. I could feel someone grab a hold of me and pull me, and I went flying down two stairs in front of my youngest child. I'm like, Jen's doing something. And my kid's like, are you sure? I thought you just slipped down the stairs. I'm like, oh, no, this is a different energy. This is completely different. I'm like, this girl is sending someone something that should not be sent.
And I don't do that, right? It's just I was in a bad mood that day. And that was a long time ago, right? But I'm just not a person that just does that, right? But it had to do with my twin flame, right? And I just found out that she was into dark magic. And I guess the dark side came out in me, right? I just don't think that somebody has the right to make somebody stay with somebody through black magic. If you're going to use black magic, there's reasons why you use it, and there's reasons why you don't use it. And I guess that is a dark side that makes me very, very touchy when it comes to my twin flame, because I care for this person. Right?
Righteous anger.
Yeah.
And I was angry, and I don't think my energy, I used every single part of my energy at that moment to send her some dark stuff. And I didn't want to tell Kathy, because Kathy would tell me not to do that because you're white. You don't do that. But I did it, right? And by the end of it, I come upstairs, I laid on my couch, and I was like, I had no energy. I didn't know what was going on. And then she called, right? And I'm like, holy shit, that shit really works. And I had to block it from my twin flame, right? And really, I'm a person that didn't believe in the black side, because I'm not out to hurt somebody. I'm out to help people. Right. But I guess a part of me, the love I have for my twin flame, and finding out she was doing blood rituals and stuff like that to make
Oh,
him
it's
stay
gnarly.
with
And when they have kids together, the fuck, excuse me.
her.
I know this is an adult program, so I can say the words
Yeah,
technically, but
right.
it's not like we're trying to be super explicit on the playground. I mean, it's the sandbox, for goodness sake. The sand. I'll write my curse words in the sand. Who is that coming through? I don't be like that. But anyway, when the stuff they do, that is just unbelievably vile. It's just foul, right?
It is.
And in the sense that everything's, because I'm going to lead this into a question,
Okay.
in the sense that everything is balanced, and the earth herself is vibrating higher, darkness itself is starting to vibrate higher. So, how does that translate into readjusting how we understand and relate with darkness?
Good question. Good question.
Well, so there's the perspective of duality, right? So if you look at cold and you look at hot, it's a duality because you got cold and hot, but it's actually also a singularity. So it is a degree in between where cold turns into hot and hot turns into cold. And if you look at the variance and the degrees and frequencies of how these two change, you can see that it's still, my water is water, but it's a different temperature every time, but it's a duality and singularity inside of itself. So when you're trying to think of the darkness and the lightness of the world, it's finding out which degrees and frequencies flow naturally with each other, so you can actually kind of just flow together properly and keep those energies balanced, instead of dark is here, light's here, or light's here and dark is here. They have to flow naturally and just kind of like end up together, and knowing that variant has now become one. So it's not like I have dark and I have light. It's I have both, and I'm able to sit in the middle and watch how here I need to be more light, but here I can bring the universe's like attention to something where I feel karma needs to come to someone. And I've done that. Like I've sat there and I've watched, and I ended up having someone in high school who was like really bullying me really badly. And I was like, how is she not getting her consequences when I'm a very kind person and I don't go out to hurt anyone? I don't literally put myself out there to go and fight someone, push someone, and things like that. And I was like, this is wrong. And I was like, no, the universe is going to give you your karma a lot faster than you think you are. And I'm going to call in that dark side, and I'm going to let the universe know, look, I'm not being mean or cruel or evil to this person. I'm not trying to get out of my way to hurt this person, but they're coming at me like that. So I want you to give them the karma that they deserve and the things that they deserve. And I found out when we were older that I finally got my epiphany from her life. She ended up looking ugly, looking like a crackhead, and she couldn't even keep a relationship. I was like, fantastic, my karma worked, have a great day. And I was done with it. I was like, perfect. Now you can give her a better life, and now you can give her some money and give her everything that she can kind of, live on and deserve. And now she can get her better karma. And she has a man now, and she has had her life changed to the better, because I'm not about giving all the dark and then not giving any light. I give that balance when I give my karma, for sure.
So Jennifer, how did you handle that with the black magic going on with the DM and everything? Did you just sit back and let it play out, or how has that been dealt with?
Well, I kind of put some mirrors around my DM, because I had to make sure that it wasn't possible for her to do it. I wanted and it's not that I want my twin flame to be back. I want him to experience what he needs to experience. They're lessons, right? And I accept that they are lessons Don't get me wrong. At the beginning, I didn't think that. It wasn't what the way I wanted to be. I wanted it to be now, but I've accepted that, right? But we ended up, I had to turn to Kathy, right? I had to learn the dark side. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. I realized I put the mirrors around him myself, but there had to have been more to it than that. I got Kathy to end up binding her. Then she ended up deciding that because her spells weren't working against him, she would go to somebody else. And me feeling him, right? Like I can tell when he's fighting. I can tell when he's hurting. I can tell so many different things. Like I can get like the wickedest pain, and he's put me down to my knees because I'm in so much pain because I'm so in tune to his energy, right? Yeah. And even other DMs I can get into that, right? But I ended up having to, I ended up getting Kathy and me, we ended up binding him. And we made sure that there is no possible way that he should be under control. He should be able to make his own decisions. And if he's meant to be with me, fantastic. If he doesn't want to be with me, I accept that, right? I know part of my twin flame journey. I know I'm a high ranking. I know my mission. I've stepped into my mission, realizing what mine and Kathy's mission is now is to help other twin flames get out of their darkness, right? And getting these demons and whatever the heck they are, right, off of them. So I ended up deciding that, okay, I got to bind this guy. There's got to be no way that he has an option to, he's got to be able to make his own decision, right? So we ended up doing all that. This was a while ago. And then we ended up finding out that he has a dark entity on him. And I was very upset at first. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is not good. What are we gonna do? Like, it was a big deal because I was like, maybe this is why I've done all this work, he's not coming in. He's not even, he doesn't even have a fighting chance. And then I was having dark dreams about dark goddesses and dark demons holding me down to my bed. And if I'm having these dreams, or even experiencing any of this, I know for sure my DM is. And I just think that because he got into drugs, got into alcohol, got into all this, and he's a very business oriented person, right? Like he's got smarts, right? And it's just not like him to do these things, right? So I knew something was just not right. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew it was something until my guides put it in. Actually, I was watching this one lady. I think this is where it all started. And then my guides are like, oh, she's smart. She figured it out. Now I'm going to tell her. I was watching this lady, and she does the same thing Kathy does, as getting rid of these dark entities. And she ended up saying that you're on a twin flame journey. You're only limited amount of time. And I'm like, what do you mean limited? I'm watching this and I'm more intrigued because I'm very good at picking up like smarts and bull. It's not like I can watch TV and even Ancient Aliens. I'm like, that's true. That's not. That's true. That's not. Right. I'm very good at those kind of energies. Right. And then all of a sudden I'm like, she's telling me that you're on a time schedule with your twin flame journey and you miss your timeline that you're back with your twin flame. And I was like, that's not right. Like, there is no timeline. There is no time in the spirit world. If time is in the human experience, there is no time in the spirit world. Time doesn't exist, right? That's just like me being able to control the time, right? If time existed, I wouldn't have that a gift to slow down time, right? It's just, there's so many gifts out there that it blows my mind how people can think that there's only just one way and you're set on a time. And when there is really no time, if you are meant to be with your twin flame, you will be with your twin flame. You got to go through your obsession stage. You got to go through your sadness stage. You got to go through these stages are not going to change. I don't care if you're a high-ranking twin flame teacher or if you're a low-ranking twin teacher. Everybody has to experience. If you're lucky, you don't have to go into separation. But if we never went into separation, me and Kathy would never be where we are today.
We wouldn't be here right now.
Benita and I had that same conversation actually last night. That's my soul sister, literally saying, if we would have, we kind of, I myself had it put out there. These are the things you need to step to get done for things to progress. And I didn't, of course, and 3 years later, now I finally got it, together. But, and we were talking about the things we would have missed. And one of the things we would have missed was this whole thing and meeting, Divine Sunshine in April, and me getting to meet Benita and forming this soul family, because it would have all been missed, because out of the pain and the sorrow and that learning, because you get to that point where you're doing so much, healing on your own. And then you get to that point where you're burnt out. You don't know what else to do. You've lost, and that's when like that soul family comes in, and you would just miss out on so much of that. So yeah, that separation, really and truly, as much as everybody hates it, it really is a blessing.
I'm grateful for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was in like La La Land. I was in like honeymoon stage. I was like, this is amazing. Like the way that we were together was like like I've never had that before, that type of energy. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, how could I be in this like bliss right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we separated, I was like, oh, okay. So I get to feel the blessed emotions.
Mm-hmm.
To feel the crap that I've been denying inside my own head for years, because I just wanted to feel, hey, you know what, this is no, I have insecurities. I don't trust people. I have so many demons in my own head that have nothing to do with the negative entities outside of me that I can control. But the ones inside of me, I'm like, screw you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to feel you. I'm just going to ignore you. And I'm going to think that my life is perfectly fine. And that's the biggest illusion. You're not fine. When you find that twin flame relationship, it's to kick open that door and go, by the way, honey, you're not fine. Right. You're not okay.
You are far from fine.
Need to work on yourself before you can even give that kind of unconditional love outside, because you don't even know what unconditional love is. Sure. And now I'm like, holy crap, like, wow. And now and it's been 2 years and I closed myself off. Like when I was 12 and I started doing witchcraft and studying runes and palmistry and things like that. When I was 15, I closed myself off. I stopped reading for people. I taught myself how to read runes. I taught myself how to read tarot cards. I didn't have books. I didn't know how. I read people's energy, didn't know what the hell it was. And then I met my twin flame and I was like, oh, I can do that later. Oh, I can do that later. I just want to go see him. And then now I'm like, I don't give a crap about no man. Get the hell out of my way. I need to do my thing. I need to work on me. And I need to work on my family. I'm a single mom of 5. I need to be there not only for myself, but my children. And I also have to sit there. And I am that type of person that people can come to. And I've had it all my life where they just look at me and they're like, I can just be myself. I feel less judged. I don't feel like I have to hide myself from you. Can we talk? And I'm like, dude, you're at a bus stop and I just met you. And I don't know what it is about you. I just want to give you everything. And they'll just, here you go, have everything. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I don't know what you want me to do other than listen, but sure, I can do that for you. And then I end up making really good friendships. And then now we've been doing this for a year with our page. Actually, no, it's been less than a year.
Yeah, our page ended up really exploded, actually, not too very, very long ago. We started it.
I think it was like what, April or May of last year?
Yeah.
It was April or May of
And
last
then
year.
we're
we started
sitting
it.
at almost 2,000 people, right?
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
just went from 500 to 1,500. It felt like it would happen in
a month.
less than a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just different perspectives, right? And I'm not saying everybody's perspective is wrong. I'm a person that doesn't believe stuff until I see it. And I know a lot of people are like me. I don't see it, I won't believe it. And Kathy tells me all the time. She told me months ago, you're going to run into your twin flame at a store that's red and white. And I looked at her and I was like, there's no way, right? And no shit. I ended up running into him at the same place she told me. She's very in tune with what she sees, because she can see and I can hear. So it's by working hand in hand and being able to tap into certain different aspects. Because there's lots of times that Kathy will be like, that's not right. And then I'll be like, no, it is right. And I'll prove her wrong. And she does it to me. Right. It's just, you can't, and I'm a closed-minded person, right? Because I'm like, there's no way that's really the truth. Right. And then no happen. It ends up happening. Right. And then I'm like, oh, maybe she is right. Maybe this is really actually happening. Right? But if you really need to remember that if you have a soul purpose, and this is just recent that I've actually come to this conclusion. If you have a soul purpose and you haven't stepped into your soul purpose and you expect to step into your twin flame relationship and you haven't stepped into your soul purpose, how do you expect to know and pass and do your soul mission that you come to earth to do? A twin flame journey is the bonus.
Yeah.
This is not the reason why you're here. This is not the la land of get to be with my twin flame. You're here for a reason. And I truly, truly believe that. And if you are not here if you haven't stepped in that soul mission, or even with me and Kathy, like rest right now, and we've just come to this conclusion. If we've just stepped into our soul purpose, how on earth do you think the universe is going to give us our twin flame right now if we haven't mastered our soul purpose? There is no way it's going to happen. There's things that every DM needs a tower. There's no special DM out there that doesn't get a tower. Kathy's DM got his tower yesterday. And I was like, how can my DM get tower after tower after tower after tower and your DM doesn't get nothing? Boom, we hit our soul purpose, figured out our soul purpose.
And my twin got his
tower.
His tower last night.
And I was like, oh, okay. So now we've realized we've got to master we're pretty good at doing what we're doing, right? Like we know what we're doing, whatever, but we do it, but this is all just now we've got to find the twin flames that have the dark side that is attached to them. Not all the twin flames will have it. You will know if something is not right in your twin flame journey. And it's not that we can't just do a basic reading for them without going, okay, we got to do this, 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 and this. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It starts with a reading and it's calling in dark to explain to us that
so I call in the dark for myself. She does it a little differently. I call in the dark. And then they give me a feeling and they also give me a sight inside my head. And sometimes they're really weird and they don't happen at the reading. Sometimes it's when I'm asleep. And then sometimes it's not. And it's when it's during the reading. And then they show me what level of demon or negative entity is attached. Some of them are small and they're like, I just need a candle for that, and put your name on it and see ya. And then the rest of them, it's like, crap, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to have to be out in nature. And if I have to freeze my butt off in the wintertime, I'm going to, because I need to get rid of it. And I get it. There's one that we came to, and I literally have to go out into the wilderness, and I have to do a strong ritual for this one, because it is really dark. And there's no way I'm going to pull that off of her or her twin flame if I'm not in my element. I need to be by water, running water. Because I'm a Pisces, I need to have that water around me. I need to hear it rushing so I can call in that. I need to be around trees. I need to have my feet planted on the ground. I need to see the flames of the candles, and then I can draw in all those energies and just add in my little bit of darkness and kind of like, hey, let's go, let's do this, bring me my deities, my goddesses, let's do this. And then I get rid of it, and then it feels lighter.
Now, how can you tell?
Go ahead. Sorry.
How can you tell if you have, any of these entities? I mean, you said that you'll know something's not right. What are some of those things that, people should look for?
So if you're dreaming morphed out dreams, like if people's faces or like a house or things are morphed, if you're dreaming a lot about your own death and you're not seeing like the end result of, like, you're not seeing your death, but you're coming up to it. That's one type of entity. Another type of entity is a succubus. Succubuses are about trying to force sexual acts on you while you're sleeping. So if you feel like you can't see anything, but all of a sudden you're feeling that there's sexual things happening to your body in your dreams, but you feel like it's actually on your body, there could be a succubus. There's depression. If you're feeling like your depression is just not moving the way you thought it was, and you're medicated and you're going through counseling and things like that, but you just still feel that pull where you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to be here. Like, I'm living proof. I haven't taken antidepressants in almost 10 years. I've been diagnosed with it, and I have depression, but I don't have depression is what I say.
You could have things in your house.
I've almost committed suicide a few times. I know what it feels like when you just feel like something's pulling, that you really want to do this. You want to go.
And it mimics you. It mimics you. It's really dark. It's really messed up. I mean, you're doing the work, okay? You're doing the work typically, and it just won't leave you. Or you're repeating a cycle, but you've studied the cycle from every angle, and yet it still circles it way back around. And it comes up very similarly amongst cultural groups as well. So it can show up, and it seems like it's something that, oh, my people just experience this type of thing. No, honey. That's like years and years of backed up dark energy, either thrown on you or dark entities that have integrated into and call themselves. Like, I had a counselor once, and she told me about this because she was the first person to teach me about Qigong and stuff like this. But she says that Christianity and the Christian church is the number one place that you see demonic possessions, right? Because they're opening themselves up, but they're not using the shields and protections, and they don't have a strong sense of self. They just want to be part of the group or that part of unification field, but they don't know how to tag on. So this entity will attach itself, say, I'm you, and look, you feel better because I'm here. Right? Instead of them going through their process for them to actually realize, I don't actually need to be attached in order to feel like I'm part of the group, because by the nature of being human, by the nature of being here right now, it's all orchestrated differently. Like, I'm jumping back across the theories, but this stuff it's beautifully masterfully sinister. You know what I mean? Like, you think like, oh, this is me, or that's just something I do, or I just carry that, or it's something that comes in my family. It's like, no, honey, everybody's been trying to get rid of this. Now you have to make the choice to clear this in your family line. And as twin flame energy, it's like huge, the reverberation effect, right? So you're going to have everything, including the dog and your mama distracting you from, I didn't mean to, anyway, they're distracting you from staying on mission. Like, I know, I was like, it wasn't on purpose. It was just, I was going to say the kids. I mean, you saw my baby. I was like, let me not enter my baby. Sorry. I didn't mean to come at you like that.
It's all good. We still love you.
But this is really putting a fire under my butt, because right before, at a certain point before the pandemic, right around the time, this spirit brought to me this ceremony, this process, this ritual for all the people who are having energy thrown at them, especially within the twin flame community, to not necessarily, well, okay, here's the deal. Confuse that energy, create dust and spiral, because when you're in the eye of the storm, you can see the storm more clearly, right? But a lot of us get taken away in that storm. So I've been meaning to figure out how to get this out. And so you guys are totally putting the fire under my butt, because I've done it with a few people before and I'm getting some pretty good results. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Am I doing the right look? Am I looking the right angle?
Where's my check? Where's my check?
Pretty much. So I'm going to be able to put this out there as it's the way spirit drew it was beautiful, because it was totally when I was in that dark night. You know how we keep thinking we're going through the second dark night, the third dark night of the soul. It's like, fuck, is it a dark month? I can't even. I'm tired.
I think it's a dark decade for me.
So I'm using it. So now it's like, okay, my light wants to use this energy, yoke this out. And how do I show this as a way for clearing? Oh, yummy, yummy. So I'm really excited about this, because now I feel like I have permission, right? Because coming at it from the sense, okay, there you go. You have your kiss. You gonna go? Okay. So now that coming at darkness from the appreciation that it exists, right? Like I have that power, but I've been suppressing that. Why? I'm not too sure. But now that I'm over that, because it's part of my ego to not show that side of myself, but let's do this thing. Like somebody's DM is ready to just throw down, like, look, this is what we've been waiting for. You hear her. Let's get on this. If she hasn't put it up in a week, I want somebody to go ahead and just make a time and space for me, a little energy portal, because it's sealed in time. Now, time itself, the construct, doesn't actually exist, but it does exist in the human linearness. And because this ritual has been placed in several times, and the ritual becomes slight change, it becomes this haze of smoke or sage or dragon's blood or whatever it is we're using to manifest and hold in this space, so that we can clearly, one, see our own selves. Because if you step into the tower via aha moment versus tower, that's power, right? But if you just go, I'm in a tower moment, then you get lost in that tower and it takes you longer to recover. We're not little babies. The new twin flames coming in, they got it easy, right? Because we're the ones going through the trenches right now, clearing up all the junk for them, so that our planet can anchor higher. So I'm stoked. I think I went all off, but yes, you guys, yes.
Yeah, it is true.
It's true. Each generation has to change the generation before. And if like everyone's been so suppressed and so like their pineal glands have been like completely calcified from fluoride that we've just been so closed
Girl,
off.
I got products for decalcifying the body. I got, this is it. To get rid of Roundup out of the system.
We are living in the only province in Canada that doesn't have fluoride in our water. We got rid of it 10 years ago. No,
awesome.
15. Like our whole province got rid of it. We're literally the only province that actually in Canada has no fluoride, and they're trying to bring it back, and we're like, no. But it's like
people need to be.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. It was about just people recognizing themselves and listening, right? Because it's not just, oh, science said this, but who paid for that study? They've been lying to us on so many different fronts, including don't believe in dark energies, don't believe in dark entities. Nobody would curse you. Girl, you cursed yourself this morning when you said I look fat in the mirror, okay? And you didn't even
Right?
realize that. And now you
If
look extra fat because you're all swollen because you just keep eating chips. You tell I wasn't chips. I'm just saying.
the government wants you to learn what you want to learn, right? Like it's to a script, right?
Mhm.
If you everybody only uses technically a person will use 10% of their brain. When you start using more than 10% of your brain, that is when your gifts start happening.
Yes.
It actually makes me quite happy because I can extend people's chakras and stuff like that. So you have like basic chakras, right? And then you can extend them to different levels. And then cleaning their third eye and stuff like that. And it actually makes me excited to watch people when I start with them, when they actually the different levels that they actually get. And then all of a sudden I've like cleans their third eye because they're like, oh my God, I feel you going like this. And I'm like, well, of course you do, right? And then they're like, call me the next day and they're like, oh my God, I can see in meditations. I'm like, well, yeah, what did you think I was doing? It's just, it excites me really, right? And I never would get to experience this excitement of watching people grow if I was with my twin flame, right?
Yes.
And I think and don't get me wrong, I miss my twin flame for sure, I do. But when you get into your soul mission, it's like excitement. It's like right on. How many people am I going to fix? Like, where are they going to go? What can I teach them so that they can go, pooh, and then they can teach, and then they can teach, and then your one person has turned into
The 100.
100,
Mhm.
right? It's just I find it as an excitement, just watching people grow and expand and.
I
I
think
love
it's
watching.
interesting too is when the DMs do come back, or we're reunited. When you are in your mission, you are then so hyper driven even further in your mission because you're like you were saying, well, I can reach 100 people. Well, now you're like, well, if I could reach 100 people, I could reach 1,000 people. And I mean, it's like this, it's like more gifts are coming online and your mind is going a mile a minute when it comes to your mission. And you become almost like laser focused then on your mission, where before, when you really were like, begging and pleading to anyone and everyone, please bring him back, I'll do anything, at that point you would have just sat down and been done with it. And that was that. But once you're in it and then they come back, then it hyper focuses you into, well, I can do this and I can take this and I can put this with this and this is how this is going to work. Oh, and you know what? I can relabel this because, they don't like the term past life, but they like Akashic records, and we can say this and this, and you pull it all together, because even if your DM's going, you're a dingbat and there's no way you can do all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, dear. I'll show you.
Right?
When your DM comes back, and me and Kathy truly, truly believe this. If your DM comes back, you're there to teach them. Your mission as a divine feminine right now is to teach your DM love and spirituality.
Yep.
That's your mission, and that is all your mission is. How many DMs are really out there that you're going to step in your divine masculine and teach people, just like we're teaching everybody right now. But when your divine masculine comes back, a divine masculine's mission is to teach other divine masculines. You are there to teach your divine masculine love and spirituality, and to prove to them that they're not losing their mind. That's really all you're there to do.
Sweetheart, you're not crazy. It's okay.
Because
we're all like that,
there is so many DMs out there, guys, right? That really, when a female talks, they out. They don't give a shit what you have to say. You're going to get a few. And don't get me wrong. Yes, you will get a few because there's some that are little bit.
Gotta use them titties.
They're going to be thinking, whatever.
Oh, it's in their brain.
Always worked for me.
Right? Your DM's purpose is to teach other DMs, and you're here to teach them. That is why it is divine feminine time. Divine masculine has had their time.
And they screwed up.
Now it's not their time anymore. It's your time to teach them. You got to get out of the scenario about pour my DM. You got to figure out, okay, I got to get into my soul mission so this dumbass gets some towers and he's coming back one way or another. If you are meant to be with your twin flame, he's going to come back kicking and screaming. Either way, he's coming back. You've signed that soul contract, right? It's meant to be. It will happen. And you just got to, once you've just released it and just said, I don't care. I got no time for that right now. And I don't right now. If my DM were to come back right now, I would want the friendship, but that's about it. I don't have time to worry about what my DM is to teach him. I don't have time right now. I will when things slow down, but I don't have the time right now, right? I want him to grow to shit and come back.
Yeah.
When you've learned love and how to love yourself, right? Like, I don't get time to teach you basics. Learn yours.
So I'm hoping and praying that our feelings and thought processes are right while we're doing our lives and things like that, that they're watching us and they're slowly learning, because I really don't have time to go, yeah, so did you meditate today? Would you like me to babysit you?
Well, how about the 100th monkey theory, right? This is what they told us in one of my science classes. They talked about the 100th monkey theory, and there was these scientists who had these islands of monkeys, and they wanted them to peel a banana a certain way, right? So they taught the first generation, they taught the second generation, and then the third generation taught the fourth generation. By the time the 100th monkey was born, nobody taught him, but he woke up being able to peel that banana. So if you're able to get your message and your energy out just enough, it will reverberate in all the right ways. And what's beautiful about the twin dynamic is it's almost instantaneous when we stop being stubborn. So
Yes.
right, because the more stubborn you are, Spirit got jokes, and they are not nice.
No, they're not nice.
They're going to get powers one way or another. You can't fight the universe, and they're going to be able to fight it for so long. And
then the universe is like, okay, I'm
you
done.
will lose. Like, I've come to this conclusion. There's nothing, you can't beat that. You can have your towers and your moments and your third-party relationships and stuff like that, but it's going to end, and it's going to end either hard or you're going to take it lightly and realize your self-worth. But I don't have time for you.
I like what you're saying. It's like since you're going to be a teacher anyway, right? You can either choose to be a teacher and teach out of love, or you can end up accidentally becoming a teacher and teach out of like things shouldn't do, like being the bad example, right? Yeah. So what is it that you're maintaining? What is it that you're growing and you're cultivating with energy? Because I was actually taught that from an acupuncture friend of mine, an amazing woman, Gemini, total passionate twin, right? And she said that you can call in your karma at any time, and you can cultivate and build this energy for creating and manifesting whatever it is that you truly desire. You just need to acknowledge that it will be. Now, you don't get to control the timing. You just get to have the I don't know, what's a better word than faith? You just got to have the knowing that it's going to be.
But there's ways you can speed things up. But if you're not, there's ways to speed things up. But if you are not, there is back doors too, right? But there's also, you have to, you can do all this work, but how are you informing the universe that you're actually ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can do all of this, but if you've done all this healing, how are you actually sending to the universe on that you're ready, right? You know, your sacral chakra is your love chakra. Everybody knows that, right? And if you're not using that chakra, well, and working that chakra, what I would actually do is, like, if you're laying on your bed, you think of your sacral chakra spinning and sparking and actually shooting those sparks up into the universe. And you're actually activating and letting the universe know that you're ready for love. That is technically when you're in flame.
Let me write that down. What do we need to do? Hold on. Let's just go.
I just imagine like
Laying down.
a cosmic
I got
tap on
laying
the cheek. Somebody's sacral chakra, just a cosmic.
I'm laying on the bed.
Let me write this down.
Would she go to lay down? I'm taking notes. We got this, sunshine.
Oh,
She's
she's
very
taking
earthy.
notes.
She's like,
Yeah.
it's totally
You have
Cassidy, right?
to form that universe, right? Like, you can't expect the universe to just, the
Hand it
universe
over.
works on energy, right? So if you're not telling the universe, okay, I've done my work, you know that there's no dark entities, you know that you've done the work, you know that, okay, well, your twin flame just got his head up his ass and kind of got to wake up, right? Well, time to activate, right? You're high vibration, your twin flame is low vibration, right? You're going to manifest, and I see it with me and Kathy all the time. We want something and we think about it, and it's like, boop, it's there. I guarantee our twin flame, because we meditate, we do the work, we do whatever, right? But sending it up into the universe and saying, okay, I'm ready, I've done my work, bring them back. Well, guess what the universe is going to do? Okay, well, you guys aren't aligned. He's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this. Well, guess what? Now comes towers. Tower after tower after tower after tower. Well, after a while, they're going to get sick of the towers, and they might actually pull their head out of the butt for once. And I don't think that it's a bad thing, right? Like my twin flame or her twin flame getting towers. It's a bonus, right? It's because when you're in your soul mission, you don't have time to teach them basics, right? That's what your spiritual journey is there to teach them. And I don't want to go back to teach somebody how to love themselves, how to stay out of a shitty relationship, and how to express anything, right? I'm more than willing to teach them, okay, let's meditate. I'll teach you to meditate. I'll teach you the basics, right? But I don't want to teach them the laws of loving yourself, right? That's what the universe is there to teach them, right? And if they want the towers and to realize that either this is not real or this is a joke and you're really not my twin flame, well, you know who your twin flame is. Your twin flame is never going to change. I would have never, actually, if it wasn't for Divine Unisoul,
Divine Sunshine.
Divine Sunshine, Zoe. If it wasn't for her, actually me doing a reading with her and her telling me that you really got to believe that and live in that moment, that you are, your twin flame is here, right? You live in that moment. It took me a while to realize that. And then I actually decided, I'm like, forget it. I know I'm going to be with my twin flame. My mission is twin flame. So I went and got a tattoo and put on my true love on my leg as a tattoo. Well, if I didn't believe in the universe and believe in this twin flame relationship, I would have been nuts to do that. Like, I know that I will be with my twin flame one time this life. I know I'm destined to, because I cannot teach people twin flame journey and have half of it and not show them the end result. That is my mission, right? There is no way on earth that the universe is going to give me a half of a mission and not give me the full, so people can see the actual coming together. I had to put my true everything into the universe now, right? And now I'm like, okay, just slow this down. I figured out my full mission. I just need a little bit more time because you can't come back yet. I don't got time to teach you. But
and I totally agree with that, and I say that every morning too, and I'm glad to hear. That's good. It's also confirmation to hear that they're saying, you know, why am I on this if I cannot at the end be a model of, okay, I walk it like I talk it. and then at the end have union as well. I ask that all the time. I know I can't be just doing this in vain. This makes no sense to me that I'm talking about this and it's not. And I'm agreeing with you. And I've always said that separation is good. They don't like to hear that. Some people, subscribers, don't like to hear that because, again, you don't want them coming with all that baggage. That 16 hefty bags. You say, I done got rid of my 16 bags, but you coming with your 16? Oh, no, boo-boo, that's not going to work. So my thing is, like you said, they've got to come together. It's got to be equally yoked. As far as what they say biblically, well, we got to come together some kind of way. Now, it's a little bit, and I know Patricia McNeely has said that it's a part that it's going to be 80% we're together, but 20% of it we got to work together. So it's some little fine tunings that him and I, or the divine masculine and divine feminine, has got to work together. So I don't. I always say that, so people don't think I got to be 100% together and he got to be 100% together. I do believe that too. It's a little part that say it's a lift. It's a little bit to be continued, and that to be continued will be continued with your twin flame too, as well. But I'm in total agreement with that. I was like, I know I ain't doing this just to be talking about people to get together in union, and they are, and then I'm not. What, somebody got to talk to me. I don't care who it is, dark side, light side, somebody got to tell me what is this all about, because I'm not getting any of that. So yeah, and plus, while you're on mission, that's going to slow you down. I mean, that's just reality and practicality. I got to stop to babysit you to make sure that you ain't often thinking about getting back with the karmic again or going and start some new third party. No, well, you could have stayed yourself right on where you was at. I could just leave you there. So, I'm with you. They're going to come some part of it together, that we're not revisiting the same stuff over again. So that's why, again, like Kathy D and myself say, separation is good. You want that time. Go over there and think. Have those towers. Have a thing where it breaks you down and makes you brand new and rebuilds you back over again, so that we don't be covering the same ground all over again. So that's very important, like you said. It was something else that you said that brought to mind. I thought about Kirk from Twin Flame All Stars. I'm always busting up his little theories. He said something opposite than what you had said, Jennifer, which was that he believed that your DM or your counterpart, which he also said the DM is not going to believe in what you're doing. He's not going to have a concept of it. And that if you're with a person that's very spiritual as you, and they're spiritual as well, that is not your twin flame. Now, this is what Kirk said out of his own mouth. And I was like,
okay. Twin flame.
Sometimes people get confused.
Yeah. I said, excuse me. He said, no, they're not going to be into that stuff. My twin is not into that stuff.
Well,
Twin flame is all spiritual like you. Then that's a soulmate. That is not a twin flame.
Yes and no. Some, yes, I can understand absolutely that they are going to be just as spiritual as you. But does he not realize that that they did their spiritual work, or they become awoke? So then they got into that aspect where they could become more spiritual with you. Or yes, absolutely. We are divine feminine. So we are the positive polarity, and the divine masculine is the negative polarity. That's why we keep working, and they keep pulling, and we keep pulling, and they keep coming with us. It's just the way it works. Yes, they're not going to be as awoke at first, but they're going to become awake. It's how that works. But then there's also the ones that are actually, they had that time where there was a separation, where they never actually were together at first and then separated. They had already been separated for 30 years from their twin flame. And that's where the mirroring comes in, is they've already been through everything, the same thing as you've been through, but they decided that they weren't going to keep their head up their rear end and become more spiritual. And that can happen too. Everything is a different perspective, and you can have like multitudes of different perspectives. It's just like, everyone's saying taking that leap of faith. Well, I'm going to make sure that backpack in the back of my back has a parachute before I jump. It's not going to happen. I will give myself enough faith in the universe that I will give that full head of I'm jumping, but I'm going to make sure I'm safe too, because that's my I am safe. because that's your root chakra. If you don't have that kind of fear in you, then how are you ever going to be safe? So yeah, I do believe that some twin flames, they're more awake than others for the DMs. And then some are not awake at all. And then
But
some are in between. And then some believe and don't believe. It's just, what part of their journey are they in? It's just like what my dad and I both agree on. I'm turning 40. I only know exactly how much I know of the universe and the world for my age. I do not know the exact same experience as an 80-year-old woman.
Right.
I don't. And I'm not ever going to until I get to her age. But then I'm also going to know it differently than she did, because I didn't live in her 80 years. I lived in mine. So the higher perspectives and the lower perspectives, yeah, okay, you could have any type of dynamic when it comes to the twin flames. Do I actually think that most DMs around this time, just because the year of the Pisces is gone and the year of the Aquarius is here, that they're going to become more awoke than the generation before us? Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure they are.
They're going to believe in something. And they have to believe in something.
My
Like
DM
they don't have to believe about the universe. They don't have to believe about aliens. They don't have to believe about spirit guides, but they believe in something. They know that there is something out there. And I truly believe that they believe even that little bit.
I blew my divine masculine away.
I honestly believe that you're a divine masculine when you're awake. And I do it to test sometimes. When you're more awake than your divine masculine, you can send telepathic messages. I know when he watches my story and when he doesn't watch my story, and I know when he watches a part of my story, and I'm like, you're gonna watch the rest of the story, and I'll send him a telepathic message. And then they'll figure, well, how many people on Facebook who's going to go back to my story and to watch the other 10 stories? Sometimes I put 15 stories out there just to see, right? Because I have a lot of followers, right? So I know when he's on there, so does she, right? We know when they're looking at our story or when they're not. And I will do that telepathic. You are going to look at the rest of my story. And within 5-10 minutes, he's looking, right? I think that when you're more awake, you can give telepathic messages and they will receive them. But I think it is very minimum that your DM can actually send them back. I'm not saying not all the time, because I've had my DM have a conversation with him. And I'm like, I get home and I'm even talking to my 12-year-old and I'm like, my God, I think I was just talking to him. And it was things where I wouldn't even have remembered. And I'm like, why was he bringing that up? He can talk to me telepathically. Is he doing work? Like, really? Is this like really happening? But I just think that slowly, the more you're awake, you're dragging them along, right? And they're coming kicking and screaming, liking it or not, right? It's only after so long they're going to start hearing their spirit guides. And don't get me wrong, I kind of, because of me being a healer, and I can extend people's chakras and clean people's third eyes and stuff. Well, Kathy can make the dark side, right? And she can make things go invisible in spirit. I've opened my twin flame up. I've cleaned his third eye. I've opened them.
And he had no idea.
And he had no idea, right? And I guess that's wrong to do on certain aspects. But on the other hand, I was sick and tired of waiting, right? And I was like, whatever, man, I'm doing it. Yeah, he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, whatever, we're doing this, right? I'm opening them both.
Oh,
well, then I guess the telepathic stuff started happening, right? So now I'm like wondering really how far open he really is. Like, I've never extended him or stuff like that. I just kind of cleaned his third eye and opened it up a little bit, a couple times. So it's just, I guess there's basic things you should do and you shouldn't do. And I was impatient. I'm not a very patient person. And neither is Kathy. We like it now. We wanted it now, right?
We're
And
getting
we did
over it,
things
we swear.
that we wanted to open them, right? Like if we figured we open them up, it would all be better. Well, no. You open it up and you make things worse.
Yeah.
We learn the hard way on other aspects, right? So don't do things that we do. It's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's experience, right? So if people have experienced it and hear about things that you shouldn't do because you've heard somebody else do it, it's, I don't know. I think I'm just a person that likes to hear other people's things, right? But I'm a person that likes to see too, right? So
April, did you have a question? I thought you did.
Well, I don't have a question, but it's more like in addition to, because
Okay.
there's a phrase I like to use very often called "it takes many." You you what's that phrase I do? It takes you can get to the number 9 many ways. You can take many ways to the number 9, right? So however you want to get there is your own personal journey. So if for this man to dictate, it's funny to me that a man did dictate, it has to be this way, this is how it looks. I was like, that's the old paradigm. Look, the feminine is waking up. Everybody knows the feminine is variable, period. And as men waken into their feminine, they're going to be variable. They're going to be twisting from their core, all of their belief systems. And majority of you, if you made it through and you're at this part of the video, you, for time capsule sake, you have done a lot of work to get here, to be able to listen, right? To be able to understand and have this conversation. A lot of males, because of the way the structures of society have been, they haven't been allowed to have this conversation. So now that we're opening up the conversation and they're able to look at themselves, they now they get to approach it from both a masculine and a feminine perspective, or an alpha and omega perspective in terms of their own power. And now, we love to classify as part of our human nature. So we have been very specific about classification and dualistic thinking, or unification thinking, when in reality, it's all very moving. It's all very changing. And what's right for you at one moment may not be right for you at another moment. And that's relative to where you are in your experience. So if you used to, as a young person, couple up with people that you were same kind, that were just like you found that you probably got more interested in things that were different and wanted to learn and grow. So that's what you're attracting in it, your twin. Now, if you picked a bunch of different bad boy types, maybe you were supposed to get with the clean, maybe your twin's cleaning himself up so that the relationship can be sustainable, right? Because it's not about repeating, it's about awakening into new and our highest I am self, right? And our earth is becoming something new because we're anchoring that in. That's also sustainability. Now, if you can do something fast and speed it up and hold it sustainably, great. But odds are pretty good. Most people who win the lottery end up broke because they haven't learned how to stay millionaires, how to be millionaires. You know what I'm saying? So as we're learning how to be our twin selves, our twins also going to come in, and we're going to be able to sustain, even if they have an attack of ego or they go into some little process, right? Because there's a fluctuation when you're attempting to hold a vibration, right? There tends to be fluctuations within that. And people can be attracted to you because they either want that vibration to help alleviate their vibration, or they want to take you down with them, right? And you're going to learn the difference between that. Now, your twin, at a certain point of immaturity, right? If the twin relationship is not mature enough, it will not withstand any of these flights of ego or any of this stuff, right? You go back into the twin flame dance. If you've gotten yourself to the point where you know yourself well enough to say, hey, that used to trigger me, but that doesn't trigger me anymore, then it's a good opportunity to say, okay, I see the universe is going to test you, because the universe always throws the tests at you. Like, what you think you got over something. Okay, the universe is going to test it, make sure that you actually got over it, so you can withstand or withhold that line when you actually have the trigger of being fully heart open. Because when you're with your twin, all the stuff just blasts right open. Yes, it's very yummy, but that withdrawal symptoms, like legit, right? And it pulls in all kinds of really interesting entities if you don't allow that yourself to hold that space and say, I'm open because of my twin. But now I see all this stuff that I'm healing and I'm going to remain open for them, but then heal so I don't attract any more crazies. Because you start attracting crazies. Legitimately.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Is that why Jennifer was looking at you, Kathy? You was like, I'm looking straight at the screen. I'm looking straight at the camera. I will not turn
I'm like,
I can feel certain energy, right? I posted on Facebook and I'm like, oh, I feel certain energy just tapped into this live. I know when I mentioned to her, I just looked at her and I'm like,
did you feel the
did
twin?
you feel that energy that just turned this live on?
Like,
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just got distracted because I just tapped into something that I just.
Oh no, there's a lot that shoots through here, and like because it's the weird time portal, it can be from the future, like, and then questions will come out. So if you're being guided to say anything or tell
No,
the
I just
people,
felt my
like,
name tapped into me on here.
oh, like when somebody's
Watching
DM
this
comes,
show right now.
when somebody's DM comes, and then they start talking to you and have you first.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I'm doing a live right now. I can't talk to you right now. Thank you very much.
You can send me a message, you know.
Right. No.
Well, you knock on that door, it'll knock back at you eventually.
Right.
I'll throw him under the bus. I don't care. He's got to get out of his fear base, right?
I'm a little bit more. I am going to be private about my twin flame because he don't like that crap.
Neither do I, but take it over. I don't mind sending towers once in a while. How's ever gonna go? Come on, man, you gotta grow. I'll help you grow. I love you.
And now you see why we're friends. I'm like, this bitch is crazy.
That's my I'm like Kathy D and Benita all over again. We get it. I think it's all right. The little mom. Okay, children.
It's so funny if they were both on, like the two pairs, they'd be like giggling and laughing and be like, "Did you? Yes, I did." And then everybody would just be laughing.
I'm like, what the hell is this show about?
I feel some heat. There's something happening. It's cold now. What's happening? What's happening?
No.
Full download the episode.
Yeah, you can actually, like, we've had like the telepathic communication between the two of us too. So every once in a while you'll see it just kind of like, and she's like,
yeah, what's going on down there?
Yeah, we'll text each other. Are you okay? What's the matter?
Right.
I'll even get messages. Did you just eat? You know, and it'll be something odd. Or did you just have tuna fish? Are you drinking coffee? You know, because like we'll get the smells of it, and it's like
I can smell that.
Oh yeah, all the time on
down. But yeah, we'll constantly. You know, we pick up on each other's energies, and our DMs come when one of us blocks them. You know, because we've pulled our energy back. So they, you know, aren't messing with us, you know, sending us stuff and all while we're trying to either work or whatever. The other one's DM will come to us to mess us. So if you guys haven't had that yet, oh, that's loads of fun.
Oh, now you're scaring the crap out of me.
Oh yeah, you wait. You wait.
It's bad enough I can look at her and I'll be like, your twin flame's watching us, and she'll just look at me, right? And I'm like, oh, she got that.
Yeah, I'm like,
or she'll look at me and she'll be like, they're both on here, and I'm like, well, what should I say?
Which one should I throw under the bus
Who's
today?
getting the tower today, honey?
Oh my God.
You got to push your twin flame though, right? You really, really do. And I used to not think that, right? I was like, oh my God, if I tell my twin flame he's doing a dumbass and I'm putting it out on national Facebook and stuff like that. He's a private person, right? He's very business orientated. So me turning around and telling them certain aspects of him, I know it makes him mad, but I know that his feelings for me are never going to change. He's going to he loves me regardless. Yes, he's going to be mad for a little while, but if he doesn't learn what because the way I look at it is if a twin flame tells a twin flame something, it will sink in. Mm-hmm. If a person that is not your twin flame that tells you the exact same aspect, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. And if your twin flame really does not know that you know, and you call them out on it, they're never going to know to change that aspect. They're just going to keep going in a circle and in a circle and in a circle. And don't get me wrong, I thought it was a bad thing doing that. And I felt bad for a long time. And Kathy's like, you can't feel bad, right? You can't. How is he ever going to learn? And then I realized, I'm like, maybe she's right. Maybe I got to just do it. Sometimes I wonder, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done that. But if I didn't call him out on it, how is he ever going to know that he needed to change that aspect? I don't got time to teach him. So I know he's watching me.
Throw him under the bus.
I'll throw a little tower at him, and hopefully he figures it out and doesn't get another one.
Yeah, that's true. Your twin flame can hit you and like bam, like, oh, with the words. I mean, those things. I mean, everybody else, like you said, they can say the same thing, but something about when they do it, those words hit like a punch, like boom. Oh God, dang it. Woo! I felt that. Okay, all right, because I never forget the first time we had the kind of powwow, and he's telling me, well, you assumed, and you know what happens when you assume, right? You make an ass out of yourself, right? And I was like, okay. And that's something like when I do it to him, I don't assume things. I ask for the facts. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And that's not only him. I do that with everybody else. But I mean, like when they send you those lessons, it go boom. And I know I do the same thing for him. It's like, I was thinking about it. I was like, why would you be a little nicer to the people? To your workers a little bit, and it gets to him. And like, okay, he's like, good job. I'm like, okay, now you overdoing it, but I see you trying. So okay, but I can tell.
You like a hero cookie.
Right. And he'd be like, shut up. But then if I tell him to do that, he's like, okay, you're doing a darn good job. And I'm like, you so that ain't genuine. But I'm like, well, you're trying, right? Okay. So it's a way that you can do it to them that, like you said, nobody else, they can send that to you. I guess that's why it hurts us so much when they do things. It's just like, oh my God, that hurts me like twice. It's like 1,000 times much than the average Joe out there when they do it. So that's a very good point that you bring up there. Yeah.
And the nice thing is,
Uh-huh.
I was just saying, the nice thing is as they come back, they are, they are changed. Like we're being told, that they're coming back different. They do come back different, and they drop some pretty wild knowledge on you after, a long time of separation. So
you know what I need after a long time of separation?
Right? I just need 5 minutes.
We don't need to be actually separated. We just need to separate something else. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take your back off, baby. Come on. That's all I want with my twin. Give me 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to stop that. Anyways.
And that's how you do.
I'm just not responsible for anybody who gets in the way when we actually do physically get back together. So that's all I'm saying. I don't care if you're a porter at the airport or clerk at the hotel. The valet at the back parking lot. You're going to see some things.
You're not going to
All
want
the
to leave.
windows will be open that day.
It doesn't matter if it's snowing. I don't care. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And
I think my Freaky Friday sex decks are like screwing with people these days. Like everyone's sacral chakra seems to be right fucked on Fridays. Everyone's like, I just need it.
Oh, the Black Witch came out and you did it? No.
My bad. You know that's the real high priestess, right?
Oh, that's the position, the high priestess we're going for.
Oh, the high priestess is a nice
Empress.
position.
Yeah,
Hey, where are those one tarot cards you had?
I was even thinking, I could probably go for, being a witch if, you had the broomstick to ride. So, go.
In every aspect possible.
Yeah.
I'm not turning any corners. I'm going. No turning around that time, man.
I missed my opportunity too many times the first time. He's not walking away from this one.
Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. You had turned this into truly the Freaky Friday.
Sorry, my bad. My sacral chakra's been out of balance for 2 years, so we got a problem.
Right.
No one's been able to do it right, so I'm screwed. Yeah.
Well,
What I've been researching about the sacral is that men's sacral and women's sacral, they do different things for energy building. So like for men to build energy is abstinence, but for women to build and maintain energy is orgasming. So like for a female to energy to keep flowing because of the cold, the yin, the hardness, right? You got to keep the juices flowing. You got to keep the pleasure centers heightened. And it's difficult when you're in the process of purging, right? Because you have all of these things that come out of you that make you kind of want to lock up and freeze up.
true.
And if you can just stay into that space of just flowing, realizing that you are both the light and the dark, and you are this divine creature that's waking up to its divinity moment by moment, breath by breath. Yeah, baby, it's Freaky Friday. Do what you need to do. I know it's late over there. It's only 5:30 here, but
You can pull them in with your sacral chakra.
I'm sure that it's us women that actually made the whole reason why there's sex stores. It's not the men. It's us.
It's us, right. That's true.
They used to think that they could cure us that way. Remember when women's health wasn't really a thing and they called it hysteria or whatever?
Right.
Even though there were hormone fluctuations, they tried to treat women like men. But they had the cure, and it was this machine that the doctor would use that had like a dilator on it that was shaped like a phallus. And it was like, we're going to cure her with this dilation machine.
Right.
So the dilator is much smaller. So cure yourself with hysteria, ladies. It's Friday night.
The treasure chest will be open tonight.
Y'all sleep damn good tonight.
If you guys would like an invite to the Pure Romance party that I've got going on, I have no problem with that one. Like, just saying.
I'm looking for sustainable, BPA free. Wouldn't that be cool? Like I know that even some of the yoni practitioners and stuff that I've been working with and studying with, they use like certain stones, like phallic stones or yoni eggs or all these wonderful things to like increase their connection with their femininity, but also using the alchemy of the crystals. So
Yeah, that's another
I'm like,
invite on the show.
You know it's time to find your DM when you can shoot your yoni stone across the room.
That's a trick that they use somewhere in Thailand in the back.
Yeah. Oh snap! My bad.
I mean, there's vaginal weightlifting. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. You
Yes.
can massage a penis, like with your insides. You can massage one, and then actually, they have reflexology points, and you can actually help their body systems through their penis with massaging with your vagina. You can control the muscles. It takes practice. Don't get me wrong, but
This is
they do all kinds of amazing things.
How do you Google that? Wait a minute, how do you Google that?
And don't get me wrong, you got lots of time to practice.
That's true, Jennifer. That's right. So while you're in separation, get that together.
Put a picture of your twin flame on the roof. I'm sure that will bring some energy in.
Holy crap! I just died a little.
Oh my God.
I'm sure I haven't studied that part yet, but I'm definitely going to try.
Yes. You didn't jump in yet. It should have been for that. What'd you say?
Oh, I'm yoking him in right now. That's what we do. This is what we do. We talk about. We just talk about the things we could do, not the things we're doing.
Right, yes.
You can literally use black magic, sex magic, to actually draw them in closer to, right? I mean, you do know that. It's called manifesting, but it's also called
I read that.
sexual magic. While you're orgasming, you think of them, and then you push through your third eye to their third eye, the image of you two climaxing together. It's sex magic.
Oh.
Well,
You can also bring in material goods. Start with some goods and our services. Start with the parking spot. I'm masturbating for a parking spot.
sex magic on my twin, but I'm trying.
Give you sex magic for your parking spot. Just start with something small. You want a can of soup? Baby stepping up to the twin. Baby stepping up to the twin. For some reason, I don't know if my sex magic was working, but all the cucumbers in the store were like small baby arms.
But now, in all seriousness, if the karmic is doing that to the DM, they're using sex magic to keep them there, and you use sex magic on them to bring them to you. What is I know what is going? I mean, what happens? Because you are a divine power, you're a higher light. Is yours stronger, or how does that work out?
First, I know if my twin flame, so I kind of sometimes do it for her.
Can't do it on your own twin flame, right?
So I will block out the karmic's energies on the DM, and then I will plant the image of her and him together. And
oh yeah, she gives him dreams. That's a cool gift. I don't know. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, if I can do it to multitudes of people, like I could just pop into your dream, say hi. Wait,
it's a gift. It's a cool gift, actually.
I'm a dream walker, so I can just kind of pop into your dream, go like, hey, how's it going? Change something in your dream that you'll notice, and then you're like, what the hell? Where did that come from? And you'll remember the next day. And I normally get confirmation all the time, and they're like, I can't believe you actually did that. And then, so I'll do it for her sometimes, and I'll send her DMs some dreams, and I'm like,
sometimes she doesn't tell me, and then sometimes she's like, well, I sent him some dreams last night. I'm like, what did you do? She's like, oh, he's thinking about you today. Is that why I'm waking up trying to rip my clothes off? Because you're sending dreams?
Yeah.
She's like, astral travel.
I mean, that's the thing. When you're super sensitive too, you can tell when other people are misusing your energy or sending you
for sure,
negative.
especially with men.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just block it off, bind them, and then I'll send my energy like quicker to them. So like they'll actually feel that the energy's they'll feel that the energy's different. I've even tried it on my own twin flame, and until he comes back, I don't think I'll ever actually 100% know what happened, but I feel like it's real, that it did happen. And I know that I can control dreams, and I did send him a dream that, you know, he'll never forget. So
All right.
let's just say it'll definitely remind him of the first time ever. So
you can make it so, like, if you know something is wrong with your twin flame, they're acting different, they're doing different things, they're just not themselves, right? Like, you know your twin flame. Nobody else knows your twin flame more than you know your twin flame. And there's ways your spirit guides can't really come out and tell you that there's magic on it, there's thingy on it, there's whatever. But your spirit guides will give you, everybody has a light, a dark spirit guide. Everybody does. You at least have to have one dark spirit guide. Technically, they're locked away. They're not supposed to technically talk to you. And technically, once in a while, your main spirit guide kind of slips and lets that one out of the door. That's why you'll get certain thoughts of, oh, there's a spell that's been cast on your twin flame. And well, mine, I know my guides do it. They just ask them, because Saint Germaine's our ascended master, right? So he doesn't like us to do certain things. But okay, and our spirit guides he doesn't like them doing certain things. But occasionally your spirit guides just slip up and let something out of the bag, right? So that's how I'll get thoughts, right? And it'll be, you're not just going to get an ordinary thought, like of just random, that your DM had sex magic cast on them or whatever, a blood ritual or all these different rituals. Those thoughts don't just pop in your mind. There's reasons why things pop in your mind, and it's like epiphanies, right? Just like us finding out twin flames have dark entities. Things don't just happen. And when you realize you trust your thoughts, you're going to go beyond. So many doors are going to open up for you that you're going to really not know what hits you once all these doors start opening, right? It's trusting yourself, right? And you'll know if your twin flame has a dark or a sex spell, or you'll have that thought, right? And then you need somebody that's stronger than that person to break that, right? That's when it comes into dark, right? Yin and yang, right? Can't have one without the other. No.
Right. And I think that's a great way to end things there, right there. We came right there because I'm listening to the conversation. I said, and we have came full circle back to the beginning of where we started. And so that's a good way. So again, thank you to these ladies. They gave us a wealth of information. I hope again that I do like my minister used to say. She had like a platter, like a buffet. Take off of the tray that what you want and what you don't want on the tray, leave it there. It's just another aspect. I promised myself again, like saying these ladies said, get it into mission. I said this time I was going to be more of a spiritual coach and an educator. And on the playground experience and everything that I do on my channel was to make sure that you educate and find other different perspectives. Because if this is the playground, we're allowing everybody to come on the playground and get their own experiences, so that can make your experience on the journey much richer. And so thank you, ladies, for you all to come.
Yes, thank you.
And Jennifer, again, they come on daily. Is there a specific time you all come on, guys? On that, I know most time you have to come and get me. Like, we on now. I'm like, okay.
So you're on Facebook, yeah?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, St. Germaine Starseeds, Spiritual Soul Sisters. We are on live every day, Monday to Friday from 12:30 to about 2:30. Sometimes we go a bit longer, and then Fridays is our Freaky Friday.
They freaky too. Uh-huh.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm freaky. For sure, I'm freaky.
Yeah, they freaky.
Say it.
With the light in the dark. Oh, that was so. Is there any other thing? So this is the best way. If some people like, yes, I really want to check out and see, do I have another third party, a third energy? Now we learned that too as well. Or I want my chakras to be extended and pulled. Is this the best way to contact you all? Is through your Facebook page?
Yes,
That's-
and through private
Okay.
as well. So if they end up finding us,
Because we're the admin on that.
Yeah.
Right. We're
Okay.
the only two admins on that group.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and then because I have to be having all this daggone thing at the same time. It's way up here at the top. Ladies, are there anything going on with you? Starting with you, Kathy D. Is there anything that's going on with you?
Hopefully the line of printables will be released for journaling and things like that this next month in March.
Okay.
And there'll be some more just some more videos out on YouTube with journaling on self-love and forgiveness and things like that.
Okay, wonderful. All right there, and I gotta go all the way. Are you at the top? What happened to you, me? I think I was a crazy mistake. Okay, yes. Made for this goldenlife.com. Is there anything else, Miss April? Is there anything you're
Okay.
doing this month?
So seriously, I talked about this last week, but spirit got jokes. Anyway, I do also, this is just such perfect timing because I have a couple packages that are come out. One is the protection ritual that is specific for people who it's not a sending karmatic type of ritual. It's a protection ritual for people who are having a lot of stuff just thrown at them and they need that energy confused so that they can see it clearly, right? So it's not taking you out of the storm, it's putting you in the eye of the storm so that you can start deciphering, and it kind of lower level witches and whatever is throwing at you, it's just, it dusts it off. I'm so excited to like explore your guys' services and who you guys are, because there's some similar stuff that I'm just gonna have so much fun with. And so I've got that package going out. It's a 9 by 9 by 9 protection ritual that's going to be coming out in the next week. And then I've got my if you want to get in touch with your ancestors and you want to really start to awaken that connection of your own blood, even if you know them or not, I have a beginning ancestor altar kit that makes it easy for plug and play and how to get in tune with that again. Anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, is that me? That's my email. Yeah, okay, but it's fine. Maybe that and for to do that. So if you have any gifts, and I've also said that, especially on the playground, and that you want to share, and that you want to do, make sure that you contact me at divineunisource11@gmail.com. For right now, at the playground thing, we'll get that together. But anyway, for right now, send it to me this way. And if you say, yes, I have a different aspect, I would like to come on the playground and play, please contact me there so I can be able to have you come on the playground experience. Us as well, we have a package together on, where is that? That's way up at the top. Help us, Lord. I got so many brandings up here. DivineUnisource11.co. We have a package deal at the playground, all three of us, which we have the spirit, soul, and spirit, mind, and body. And all, yeah. Anyway, all of us together combine our gifts so we can be able to help you as well, so you can get that package. We have one about going with the past lives as well, connected together, and then also if you have some package, some issue or things that you need to work on, you can work through all three of us as well. with that. I'm trying to see that. I did have February, but it's pretty much going on. I'm glad. In some ways, I'm glad some of you all are not getting your DM or DF letters, and that's good. That lets me know you're growing. You're not looking at to see what's going on in his business. However, if you still want that and still want to be motivated, you can still get your love letters done by me too as well. But I don't just do love letters just for them. I also do for past loved ones too. I've done several of them as well. So if you want to know what's going on with a loved one that passed over, I could also do a love letter for them as well. What's going on with the chakras? I'm getting all this, and I hear you doing it too. So always make sure that you click like, share, and subscribe to this channel as well, so you can be able to get the notifications about what is going on great on the playground. Remember, look soon in March, something great is going to happen to the playground experience too. We're there on the move. We're getting more into our mission as well, and then keep an eye on my channel too, because we're getting into more into mission too as well, as about things how we can be able to help you through the process. All right there, ladies, as we're getting out of here. All right, Kathy D, sign us on out of here. What's your signage to get off?
Empty the virtual sand out of your shoes and socks. Make sure you take your own sand bucket home. Pick up your virtual juice boxes. Leave it cleaner than you found it. And we will see you next time. Wishing you the best life ever.
Yes, and April Williams.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, ciao Bella. That's what I heard. I don't know where I heard that from, but it just came out. You said that anyway. Kat, who am I channeling for? I don't know. All right, Kathy, what you got? My Star Seed Soul Sisters.
Just remember there's still dark out there, so keep safe.
All right, yes, hey, I like that. Hey,
That darkness is going straight to the womb, and it's going to be rebirth. Let's go.
There's always ways around bad items, right? You can always go around things.
Use about 8 or 9 inches of darkness.
Yes. Try to close out this show. We'll be here all night.
Sorry.
Here we go. And as always, stay motivated, stay acidic. Namaste. Now we go. Love you. All right. Until next time. See ya.